You shall have it, my dear, said her father, slipping his arm round George, much to her surprise. Just say what it is, and even if it costs £100 you shall have it. Just then there came the pattering of big feet down the passage to the room they were in. A big hairy head pushed itself through the door and looked inquiringly at everyone there. It was Tim, of course. Uncle Quentin stared at him in surprise. "Why, isn't that Tim?" he asked. "Hello, Tim." "Father, Tim is the thing I want most in all the world," said George, squeezing her father's arm. You can't think what a friend he was to us on the island, and he wanted to fly at those men and fight them. "Oh, Father, I don't want any other present, I only want to keep Tim and have him here for my very own." "We could afford to give him a proper kennel to sleep in now, and I'd see that he didn't disturb you, I really would." "Well, of course you can have him," said her father, and Tim came right into the room at once, wagging his tail, looking for all the world as if he had understood every word that had been said. He actually licked Uncle Quentin's hand. Anne thought that was very brave of him. But Uncle Quentin was quite different now. It seemed as if a great weight had been lifted off his shoulders. They were rich now, George could go to a good school, and his wife could have the things he had so much wanted her to have, and he would be able to go on with the work he loved without feeling that he was not earning enough to keep his family in comfort. He beamed round at everyone, looking as jolly a person as anyone could wish. George was overjoyed about Tim. She flung her arms round her father's neck and hugged him, a thing she had not done for a long time. He looked astonished but very pleased. "Well, well," he said, "this is all very pleasant. Hello, is this the police already?" It was. They came up to the door and had a few words with Uncle Quentin. Then one stayed behind to take down the children's story in his notebook and the others went off to get a boat to the island. The men had gone from there. The boat from the fishing smack had fetched them away, and now both ship and boat had disappeared. The motorboat was still there, quite unusable. The inspector looked at it with a grin. "Fierce young lady, isn't she, that Miss Georgina?" he said. done this job pretty well. No one could get away in this boat. We'll have to get it towed into harbor. The police brought back with them some of the ingots of gold to show Uncle Quentin. They had sealed up the door of the dungeon so that no one else could get in until the children's uncle was ready to go and fetch the gold. Everything was being done thoroughly and properly, though far too slowly for the children. They had hoped that the men would have been caught and taken to prison, and that the police would bring back the whole of the gold at once. They were all very tired that night and didn't make any fuss at all when their aunt said that they must go to bed early. They undressed and then the boys went to eat their supper in the girls' bedroom. Tim was there, ready to lick up any fallen crumbs. "Well, I must say we've had a wonderful adventure," said Julian, sleepily. "In a way I'm sorry it's ended, though at times I didn't enjoy it very much, especially when you and I, George, were prisoners in that dungeon." "That was awful." George was looking very happy as she nibbled her gingerbread biscuits. She grinned at Julian. "And to think I hated the idea of you all coming here to stay," she said. "I was going to be such a beast to you. I was going to make you wish you were all home again. And now the only thing that makes me sad is the idea of you going away, which you will do, of course, when the holidays end." "And then, after having 3 friends with me, enjoying adventures like this, I'll be all on my own again." "I've never been lonely before, but I know I shall be now." "No, you won't," said Anne, suddenly. "You can do something that will stop you being lonely ever again." "What?" said George in surprise. "You can ask to go to the same boarding school as I go to," said Anne. "It's such a lovely one, and we are allowed to keep our pets, so Tim could come too." "Gracious! Could he really?" said George, her eyes shining. "Well, I'll go then. I always said I wouldn't, but I will because I see now how much better and happier it is to be with others than all by myself."